This is Odyssey, where we embrace the oddities. Last week, we finished up the 3-part series, The Tale of Deep Ground. If you haven't seen that video already, click the link at the top right corner and let's get into this video. Today, we'll be finishing up the Tale or Epic of Gilgamesh, where we even design our own Gilgamesh from scratch. Or, as I like to call it, we concepted from scratch, taking the base elements of what makes Gilgamesh special to design our very own. Now let's recap. Who is Gilgamesh? Gilgamesh is a legendary warrior in the Final Fantasy series based off of the Gilgamesh from Sumerian mythology and also Benkai from Japanese history. Now, why should you give a fuck? Gilgamesh is a special case of character design, with one character but many different silhouettes. In our last episode, we focused on building silhouettes, which we will take, build, and finalize a design for our own Gilgamesh. Now let's talk a little bit about silhouettes, and why should you silhouette sketch your concept art and character designs. By focusing on the silhouettes, you kill two birds with one stone. You build up your visual library, while also having a wide range of character designs to pick from, all with the potential to be the next biggest thing. Now we picked one silhouette and decided to show you a little preview in a Speedpaint of how we developed that silhouette into a character. I'm going to make sure to walk you all a little bit through this Speedpaint. What I did was, first I took the base silhouette and I etched it out enough to where it has a rough detail of what I wanted to look like. And as time goes on, I refine the detail ever more, slightly. The best benefit of silhouette sketching is when you're trying to define character details, but you don't want to be a slave to the line. It's all about roughing and blotting in rough shapes and defining them as you go on. Another benefit is time efficiency, allowing you to copy and paste to get different variations of the design that you like. Now for this concept, I was really trying to push the idea that Gilgamesh is an over-the-top, charismatic, comedic swordsman that appears serious. So I wanted to mess around with the idea that he's a swordsman that by nature he has several arms and he uses two of them to walk, and he doesn't even need his legs. Something along the line of skipping leg day or something. Now these are the two finished Odyssey designs that I came up with. Trying to keep the color scheme consistent, I kept the skin neutral gray to let him keep that otherworldly feeling, and keeping the red armor with the horns for both of these designs. The intent behind the design choices was to keep him hostile, yet lighthearted and fun. This is reinforced by the big triangles that his arms make at the top right. Now Gilgamesh as a character in Final Fantasy is designed for 1. Combat, 2. Mystery, 3. Comedy. Besides the typical intimidating warrior designs, Gilgamesh also features 3 other really interesting and I would say odd designs, and each of them have a really unique silhouette and come off much more playful than the typical Gilgamesh designs. Now the last important thing when designing a character is what you're designing the character for. It'll be different to design a character for animation than for a game. Luckily, all these Gilgamesh designs were made for games, and the design changes based on the story and the world that the game takes place. In this lineup, the first Gilgamesh that you see takes place in Final Fantasy VIII. The second one takes place in Final Fantasy XII, and the third takes place in Final Fantasy Dissidia. Has his transformation. But no matter what world that he takes place in, his color palette remains the same, and that's part of the branding of Gilgamesh. Let's conclude by designing a character using their abstract to design a consistent character that matches up the overall theme. Now what's next for Odyssey? We'll be developing more content based around evolving beyond the fantasy. That includes stuff like taking what we learned and using them to create unique worlds and unique characters in the Odyssey cosmos. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. We got a lot more coming.